support it yet.
Nope, there we go. Got it. Haha, I win.
He found it. He apparently doesn't know how to click on the right driver.
I cannot spell today. There we go. So we are live. AMD Vega live stream with WoW. Got the peanut gallery next to me per usual.
Hey, I'm not the peanut gallery. I'm the smart one in this group.
Yeah, sure. Let me know. I'm actually going to get my admin on here.
Hey. I don't need a Cracker Jack section back there. And you're the queen bee? Shoes.
Gonna list my own stream. There we go. Got it. Haha, I win. Cool. There's no background noise, so we're good.
Guy goes, yeah, that just happened. What the guy's name? That's what I meant. Where'd he go?
As I get people on here, we'll talk about Vega, what I've gotten so far, what I like, what I don't like.
How you lose power.
How we blow the breaker on the entire room.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that. But I definitely won't wait till you guys start funneling in here before I do that.
Please go on there about that.
Meh. Oops, not what I want to do. Where is the actual stream? Because I want to actually get a link to this. Is there a way you can give me a link, babe?
Huh?
Is there a way you can give me a link so I can put this on Facebook?
You can get the link yourself. Scroll down. Where it says share.
Where?
See next to the there you go.
Okay. Piece of Web Solutions. Yep, we'll do that. What are you doing over there?
There you go, stick.
So nobody's on quite yet. Soon, I believe you guys will be rolling in here. Looking at my overclock settings right now. 10.5% frequency. So, as I'm trolling my admin here, since he's the only one here, I think sounds good, so let me get you over to screen 2 here. So, show you guys where we're at. Right now, we're running about 1800 megahertz on the core. It's moving around since the game's not up. And then 1000 megahertz on the memory, which is very impressive. However, just a couple things to note. Now, this isn't while playing WoW, but I am hitting around 70 to 75 degrees Celsius, and I'll show you guys my fan curve here. I haven't maxed out 3000 RPM because it gets a little loud after that. For games like WoW, it's not a big deal, but what I was really looking for, and this is why I'm really happy with Vega, is display, FreeSync right here. Sorry, that one's not supported. FreeSync is on. Let me see. No, I have not. So I have FreeSync on. I have a FreeSync monitor. It's 144 hertz, 1440p monitor. That's why I'm really happy that I got Vega. So
yeah,
I don't. Babe, don't scream. I'm streaming. You're like yelling. It's echoing. Thank you.
Yeah,
So
was gonna have to
my
do.
early testing does not have Vega beating my 1080. Couple reasons. We're comparing a 600,
I see it, didn't it?
and this, I'm not going to use results up for a day or two, but we're comparing a $600 1080 that will overclock all the way to about 2 gigahertz. Just without even touching anything. It'll just go straight to 2 gigahertz, right? And versus a card that, you know, nowhere near 2 gigahertz. So 1800 is actually about as far as I could actually get it to go. So, you know, I'm very happy with Vega, don't get me wrong. And I love the fact it's FreeSync. But, you know, my test is going to compare the best GTX 1080 versus a reference RX Vega 64. So that's kind of the thing.
What?
I think I have a quest to do here. Okay, yeah, I need to do this place. So let me go ahead and queue up here. Dungeon Finder, specific. I can't do heroic yet, so I need... There we go. It says lower voltage can help attempts and draw power while still offering the basic same performance. You're most likely correct on that. So the heat isn't bad. Keep it in the 70s. I haven't really eclipsed 80 unless I'm doing something seriously intensive. Probably the biggest problem, and this is where I blew the breaker on my house here, is, let me bring this back up. No, we're not going to do it again. Gaming, global settings, global allotment, is I set this to 50%, and now I put my power draw around 700 watts. So, yeah, not fun. Not fun at all. But it wasn't due to Vega, so here's the scenario. 105%, 150% max power of Vega, so it's around 700 watts on the wall with the GPU and overclock CPU and all my fans and pump and everything. Her system, which consumes a fair bit less power, is gaming. The other system was streaming and encoding, and then we have a 1500 watt AC. And that is, if you're good at math, that is going to be north of 3,000 watts of power in a single room, and that is how you blow a breaker very, quite easily on that end. So, and yes, yeah, Mr. Mellon, we are up. And as I had said to you, given the fact that we're probably... What? Given the fact that the add-in board partners are not going to be releasing their cards for some time, the 1080 is the way to go for most people. The fact that FreeSync is pretty inexpensive is definitely nice, and I do have a FreeSync monitor. But, I'm happy with my purchase, and as I think I told you, I'll probably be, getting what's called a aftermarket design. So it's going to have, like, 2 fans on it. It's going to have good cooling and stuff like that. Whereas right now I have a single, you guys, I don't have the camera on, but I have a single blower style. So it runs hotter, it runs louder, can't overclock as well. But, oh, I just realized something. You guys are still looking at that. Sorry. There we go. There's some performance for you. Hey. Smartass. I absolutely hate my case. That's what she's getting at. Just such a pain in the butt to build in, that's all. I really like my Micro ATX case I had. It was the Master Case Pro 3. And if I can find a good MATX board, I'll probably go back to that.
There's your French cruiser.
So here's the thing I like about AMD. So, I've always been somebody who always likes the underdog. you know, somebody who's really representing,
Oh, Rob.
you know, the people, right? So, unfortunately, we're like R9 290 all over again, right? So for those of you that, you know, this, Andrew Mellon, for example, you know, you're just now getting the PC Master Race, right? So previously to the Vega cards was the RX Fury, and there was a liquid and a air-cooled version, right? So good cards, but prior to that was the R9 series, and the thing with the R9 series is they ran really, really freaking hot, and I've owned a couple of those cards. Even the aftermarket designs ran quite warm, and the reference designs would honestly run 95 degrees Celsius, which is that dangerous? No, they're designed to. They'll probably run 95 degrees Celsius for 3 to 4 years, and then basically just die off. I mean, that's pretty much what was going to happen. But it was safe. They have this card capped out at 85, so they won't let it go above 85. And I think the reason behind that is the yields with HBM2 are not as high, and they don't want the card to run that hot. So. But, yeah, I'm happy with the purchase. I like the fact it's not water cooled, so I can take it in and out a hell of a lot easier. It's a pain in the ass when it's water cooled, let me tell you. But, yep, and I have all the fans hooked up.
You have another question up there.
What question?
Correct my eyes.
That wasn't a question.
Or
I think it was, yeah, R9 Fury X. I apologize. Thanks for the correction. Yeah, it actually, I keep the fan down about 3,000 RPM because it gets louder than my, whatchamacallit, portable air conditioner, so. Okay, so, you know, the amount of power and just ridiculousness that would take. It is. The thing is you can put a lot of power through these cards. I think where AMD probably went wrong is they unlocked these cards too much. Their potential is quite low compared to whatever else is on the market. So, you know, the fact that the fact that you can add 50% more power and exceed the 8-pin PCI Express maximum throughput, which is 150 watts per plug plus 75 watts on the board, which means you should be able to push 375, but you can actually push a fair bit more than that. I mean, I'm able to push north of like over 500 just out through the 75 through the board, through the PCI Express connector, and then you know, I think you can do like 225 per connector, rather. So, yeah. Yes, babe, we've already talked about this.
Oh, yesterday.
What?
Or you totally ignored Sticky's question.
What?
He wants to talk about how you screwed your computer up yesterday.
I didn't. I was overclocking the memory, and I kept it wouldn't post, so I had to undo the overclock. Yes, overclocking is always fun. Hey, Mr. Mellon, when's your computer ship? I think it should be shipping today. Yes, we've already discussed that. So, but yeah, having FreeSync is definitely nice. I never really mess with G-Sync because I never had a G-Sync monitor, but the things you don't do when you're playing a computer. Meh. I mean, you only find out stuff whenever you break it, right? You learn from your mistakes. Yeah, I know. See, now, had you gotten a new egg credit card and bought the things with, 18 months same as cash, your computer would have been built by now. Not saying you didn't get a good deal, but, your computer would have been built by now.
So, level 8, I got where are these scenarios at?
But for anybody that's going to be in the market for a Vega card that watches the stream, let's talk about why I should or shouldn't start playing WoW. I don't know. That's your call. I mean, and I can't win it all, Steve. I mean, I like it. I don't play it like a ton, but it's my go-to game. There's no doubt about that. It takes more power than a potato. It's not optimized worth a damn, but the game doesn't look too bad. So, have you decided on a monitor? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, in reference to the game, I mean, it's changed a lot. You figure I've played for 13 years now, so just almost half my life. This game's been a part of it, so it's fun. It doesn't require a big investment chunk like it used to, thankfully. You can, if you want to be serious and get high-end, I mean, you could still do it without spending all your time playing. Yeah, that one's tough. I mean, like I said, I use the Acer as my secondary monitor, but, I mean, I would,
if you spam it,
because, I mean, I don't think you're playing, like, competitive first-person shooters. As much as I'd love to sell my monitor and make some of my money back on it, 1440p I feel like is a better option for you, personally.
It's just a Kuma.
Now, here's the only thing with playing WoW that I will warn you. WoW is an easy game to play, a hard game to master when it comes to computer performance. That you don't need a lot of power to play the game, but you do need a fair bit of power to play it well. And what I mean by that is if I do a raid, so a raid's going to consist of 25 or so people, right? 20, 25 people. I will dip from the 100 FPS I'm sitting at to probably in the 30s. And there's not a lot I can do about it. I can adjust the settings a little bit to squeak out a little bit of frame rate, change the resolution, but I'm not going to gain a lot of frame rate. So, but the thing is you need to have the right kind of power to be able to play the game where when you're raiding, it's not, you know, a slideshow, right? So, like, if you're running, like, 5 to 10 FPS, which a lot of people do while raiding, it's hard to play. So, you know, if you have the right setup, like a Ryzen chip or a newer Intel chip, or even like an i3, in a decent card like a 1050 or 1050 Ti, you'll be alright. You'll be perfectly fine. It's whenever you're rocking some really old, dated hardware, that's where it becomes very difficult, because, you know, the instructions per clock is a lot lower and things of that nature. So. It takes a lot of raw CPU throughput on a single core is what it takes. So.
And I'm down. I got 4 Citadels, 19 hits, and 1 incapacitate. I almost had that Kuma done too.
I don't feel like we really understand the bad. Screw it. Actually, I'm out of Death Strike, so I should probably not do that. See, WoW has changed to a fun, casual game. Where WoW got a lot of its popularity is... Oh, I can't do anything. Is because it came out at the right time. So, you know, it came out during a time where a lot of people were looking for a new MMO, and Warcraft had a good story. That was probably the biggest reason why Warcraft was successful. And is because of timing, and they built off a platform that was already successful. Where it got its peak was in Wrath of the Lich King. So the game was a fair bit different. It was a little more of a grind, a little tougher because you had to put more time into it. I would actually make the argument, new stream, sorry, not a, this is, you know, Vega's already up and everything like that. I would make the argument the game was easier, but took more time. You know, a lot of people say that, oh, the game used to be so hard. Not really, because so many things made no sense in the game that you just basically got the best gear available, you know. What would that run I ordered? I'll answer that question in a second. Yes, he's actually been mod for a little bit. But the game actually got more complex and then simpler, but there was a lot more right and wrong. You know, now it's not about necessarily the mechanics of you know, Warcraft. It's about gearing and gearing right and maximizing DPS. It used to always be about you know, mechanics, and basically you got, you know, the tier gear that dropped. Like, stats weren't super important until Wrath of the Lich King came in. I mean, there were some stats that were important, but none of them were like super important. The game was a lot more of a grind. You had to spend a lot more time doing a lot of things. Leveling took a lot longer. Nowadays, the game's more math-based, you know. Rotation's important, mechanics also important, but you have to be able to know mechanics and do your job very well, rather than just do mechanics and do your job half-assed like we used to back in the day of the 40-minute raids, right? So, and for that reason, you can be a casual player like me and still, you know, my one character's in the 900 item level. You know, I'm doing like 800,000 DPS, which is good for my gear level, stuff like that. You can be an average player and still be able to play the game. You don't need to be a hardcore elite necessarily. So, Andrew, my dream monitor is at least 90 Hz FreeSync G-Sync IPS no larger. So, my fiance loves her ultra wide. So, here's the thing: a G-Sync monitor is not going to be cheap. You're gonna, for what you're gonna spend on a G-Sync monitor, you can get something like what I have, which I believe Acer has one. It's a 1440p 144 Hz monitor. I see a Kingdom Ryan. Thanks for checking back in. And to be honest, 1444 or 144p or 1440p 144 hertz is the ideal monitor. It's something that our cards can do pretty well with like mostly like a mix of like high and very high settings, no issue like that. And that's gonna give you the best experience. The problem is most G-Sync monitors are going to start costing you a pretty penny. Sweet, got new hands. Nice. So here, let me bring up PC Part Picker real quick. Complete side note. Here, let me go back here.
Oh, okay.
You done for the night? Okay. Some of the RX Vega cards have come down in price. On eBay, people were buying them up and then reselling them on eBay. Yeah, see, and that was kind of my worry. That's fine. That was kind of my worry, as he had linked. You're going to spend a lot of money on the ideal monitors. So you're going to be looking at 144 hertz, 1440p G-Sync, and $600 is probably the cheapest you're going to get. Dark Heart Thicket. That's it. Okay, I'm not doing that part tonight. So that Dell is not a bad deal. So here's the downside of the Dell. Is it's not an IPS display. Now, to be honest, that's potentially something that I could overlook. Ideally, I would go with the AOC. Would be a better monitor. But being a TN panel, it's not going to pop as much. The colors aren't going to be quite as vibrant on a TN panel versus an IPS. But the 1440p definitely makes a big difference. The high refresh rate is nice. Now, with giving up the color quality, you're going to get better response time. And that is going to be your, more fast-paced games. That's going to be where that makes a difference. Personally, if they were the same price, I would hands down go with IPS. I don't play games that require, razor-fast response time. I play World of Warcraft. What's this in cell phone terms? So most cell phones use a OLED or even an IPS display. So you notice that the display on a cell phone looks pretty good. Colors look good. They pop. They look nice. The comparison would be not having quite that much quality in display in the realms of color reproduction. So how deep the colors are, the color spectrum, things like that. Now, not to say that you would be able to notice a difference unless you had them both properly calibrated to the RGB spectrum and all the other things that Linus tests. I'm not too sure on what all that is, but I know like 99% Adobe RGB and all that stuff. If you take one monitor next to that, you're going to notice a difference. But if you buy like that TN panel, it's going to look fine. It's going to look great. The funny thing is my my 144 hertz 1080p monitor is actually calibrated from the factory, whereas my Pixo is not, and I haven't changed that. So my TN panel actually looks better in colors and more vibrant than my IPS panel, but that's because I'm lazy. It's there though, so I just have to get around doing it at some point. I used to run 4K on a 970. Then I got two 970s. Then went the 980 Ti. Then went with a 1080. Then went with a RX Vega. So, in order. See what's on the LTT forums. Cannon Lake has been discussed. NVIDIA is pushing back Volta because they believe that there is no reason to put it out yet, and that's the kind of shit that pisses me off. Because, AMD has to. One thing they have to figure out is what they want to do long term. So, HBM2, so high bandwidth memory 2, is great. However, the yields are not ideal, so they're having trouble with mass production because the yields, the percentage of ones that fall within the spectrum that they actually use, so ones that don't fail, blah, 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 a lot lower than GDDR5X, so definitely something to keep in mind. So that's the problem, and is NVIDIA with Volta, they're supposed to use an HBM2, but there's no guarantee on that. They're using HBM2 for their professional grade graphics cards, right? So not the Quadros, but the other ones. Lower for IPS. Okay, so yes, most of the monitors you're going to look at are going to be 1440p, IPS ideally, and 60 hertz. It's probably going to fall in the price range of 200 to 250. So to go anything above that, you're going to spend a fair bit more, or you're going to give some trade-offs. So, for example, he was looking at G-Sync. So let's take a look at what options are for G-Sync. Sorry. G-Sync and 1440p. Oh, that's not the right one. So the cheapest one is the one he sent you, which is 400, but then, it's not going to be IPS. I think I'm going to fall back on 1440p 60 hertz IPS. I think that's going to be where you want to be. You're going to want to stress the graphics card level. You're going to want to, obviously I don't think you want to go 1080p. I just don't think, I don't think 1080p 144 hertz is going to do you as well, because I feel like you're the, and I could be wrong, but I feel like you're the kind of person that, you're going to play games like Skyrim, and you're going to be looking at games that are visually appealing, not necessarily, the highest end. Like CSGO doesn't take a lot of power, you know what I mean? So something like that. And then Amazon has an Acer for sale. It's a, it says Newegg actually. It's 1440p IPS. It is on sale for $219. 4 millisecond response. Now it's 24-inch. Not a bad option. So Crackling Ice is just being picky, just like me. Now my fiance has a curved ultra wide. It's 1440p, 3440 by 1440, 75 hertz. It's an ultra wide. It's like $600. Yeah, excuse me. Let's see if I got any text messages from people. Nope. I closed them more than I'm off while we're going to a pirate game, but I'm still off. I think Thursday, tomorrow now, I'll probably do all the benchmarks. I'm gonna probably need to steal her 10. No, I could probably just flop my car in there, no big deal. No harm, no foul. Man, that kicks out a lot of heat. But I think I'm gonna turn in for the evening. I had a pretty crappy stream earlier. Sorry guys, and this stream wasn't too bad. We'll showcase a bit more But I have a lot of videos I need to put up. I just need to sit down and do them. So we'll get that going. But as always, guys, thank you everybody that tuned in. There's actually a couple of you guys. I'm going to be doing a reoccurring stream Saturday evenings, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. That seems to be where there's a lot of people that are on, so that'll be consistent. And then I'm going to try to do maybe 1 or 2 streams during the week, answering questions, and I close also trying until next time, yeah. And then I'm going to try to fill it in with some product reviews and stuff like that. I have some stuff coming down the pipeline. Adobe, editing, stuff like that. Does the GPU really matter? So, anyway, guys, thank you guys for tuning in, as always. This is Steve from PC Budget Solutions. Andy knows me elsewhere, but we'll stick with PC Budget Solutions. And you guys can't see me pointing, but I'll see you guys later on down the road.